Olympian Simone Biles faces fierce backlash after clash with Riley Gaines over trans athletes debate. Biles called Gaines truly sick over her stance on trans athletes competing in women's sports. Seven-time Olympic gold medalist Simone Biles received harsh backlash on social media after the gymnastics star sparred with former 12-time NCAA All-American swimmer Riley Gaines over the debate surrounding transgender athletes competing in girls' and women's sports. Gaines, a former University of Kentucky swimmer and current Outkick contributor and host of the Gaines for Girls podcast, took to X on Friday to call out the Minnesota State High School League for posting a picture of the new state champions, Champlin Park High School. The school has made headlines because its dominant performance on the way to the title game was led by junior pitcher Marissa Rothenberger, a transgender athlete competing on the team. The photo posted on X had the comments disabled. In response to Gaines' criticism of the post, Biles posted a message calling Gaines truly sick over her stance on trans athletes. She even launched a personal attack at Gaines. "You're truly sick. All of this campaigning because you lost a race. Straight up sore loser," Biles said, referencing Gaines competing against former UPenn swimmer Leah Thomas at the 2022 NCAA championships. "You should be uplifting the trans community and perhaps finding a way to make sports inclusive or creating a new avenue where trans feel safe in sports. Maybe a transgender category in all sports, but instead you bully them. One thing's for sure is no one in sports is safe with you around." The post went viral on social media, with Biles adding in another post, "Bully someone your own size," which would ironically be a male. But Biles, the most decorated gymnast in history, a feat she accomplished at the Paris Olympics, faced fierce backlash for her comments on social media. Many on social media also pointed out Biles' call for open categories in all sports. In 2022, World Aquatics, the international governing body for swimming, updated its eligibility policy to effectively ban transgender athletes from competing in women's events. The following year, the organization launched and debuted an open category at the World Aquatic Swimming World Cup in Berlin. The organization later confirmed that upon the close of registration, no entries had been received for the open category. Biles is an 11-time Olympic medalist. She holds 30 world championship medals, including a record 23 gold. She has not responded on social media following her initial posts aimed at Gaines. Simone Biles took aim at former U.S. NCAA swimmer turned conservative pundit Riley Gaines on Friday over the latter's recent comments advocating for the exclusion of trans athletes in women's sports. Gaines was among more than a dozen college athletes who filed a lawsuit against the NCAA in March 2024, accusing it of violating their Title IX rights by allowing transgender swimmer Leah Thomas to compete at the national championships in 2022. In that championship, Thomas and Gaines tied for fifth, but only Thomas was handed the fifth-place trophy in the 200-yard final. Since then, Gaines has become an activist staunchly opposed to having trans athletes in women's sports. Recently, Gaines's commentary has also included spotlighting and in some cases vilifying transgender youth for their involvement in women's and girls' sports. On Friday, she targeted the Minnesota State High School League for not allowing comments on their post about the Champlin Park girls team celebrating the state championships. Champlin Park's team includes a trans athlete. "Comments off, lol," Gaines commented in a post on X. "To be expected when your star player is a boy." Biles, an outspoken campaigner for mental health awareness throughout her career, quickly criticized Gaines's comments on social media. "You're truly sick. All of this campaigning because you lost a race," Biles said. "Straight up sore loser. You should be uplifting the trans community and perhaps finding a way to make sports inclusive or creating a new avenue where trans feel safe in sports. Maybe a transgender category in all sports, but instead you bully them. One thing's for sure is no one in sports is safe with you around." She added, "Bully someone your own size," which would ironically be a male. Gaines responded to Biles in follow-up posts, saying the 7-time gold medalist's stance on transgender athletes was so disappointing and labeled her a male apologist at the expense of young girls' dreams. The former swimmer insinuated that Biles should participate in men's gymnastics due to her viewpoints. Maybe she could compete in pommel horse and rings in 2028, Gaines said. Gaines also brought up Larry Nassar, a former national team doctor who sexually abused multiple U.S. gymnasts, including Biles, under the guise of medical treatment. All the horrific sexual abuse at Simone Biles witnessed and spoke out against caused by one man, yet believes women should be forced to strip naked in front of men to validate the man's feelings. You know how many gold medals you'd have if your inclusive dream came true? 0.